Mr. Anson, Ms. Troisi, administration, parents, supporters, and most especially, my fellow graduates. Thank you for getting us to this point in our lives. Teachers, thank you for all you have taught us that we will take with us. Parents, thank you for all you have given us and for all that you will continue to do for us. And to my classmates, thank you for the laughter and support we have shared that will sustain us throughout our futures. I want to share with you a little story of what I've been up to lately. I've been hiking a lot during this quarantine. I live in Ana Verde Hills, and for those of you who have never been out that way, let me just say that the name is accurate. Just past my house, there are miles of trails and hills that take you all the way out to Acton or wrap you around to Courts Hill. Just a couple weeks ago, I was on one of my usual run and hike combos. I had a path in mind, so I ran to the foot of the hill I was going to climb that day. I had a general idea of where it led, and it was a fairly direct route home. Just as I turned to start up this hill, two people appeared at the top, headed my way. The path was narrow, and I really did not want to come into such close contact with these unmasked individuals. So instead, I made the spontaneous decision to run farther away from home to a longer trail that would also lead me back eventually. I had never been this way, and it was just my luck to find myself at the foot of an even bigger hill. I started jogging up, but my jogging quickly turned to walking once I realized that this hill was even larger than it seemed. The angle from the bottom cut off about half of its total distance, but there was no going back at this point. I consider myself to be fairly fit, but the trip up was tiring. It got so steep at some parts that I actually slipped, and those of you who have ever tripped going up the new building stairs can relate. I had to stop so many times, I couldn't even count. It didn't help that my view of anything was blocked by the mass of dirt in front of me. I was just trudging up this big brown wall for all I knew. The only saving graces were a constant breeze and the pretty flowers growing through rocks along the path. When I finally took the last few steps to be at the top, I was met by the sheer beauty of the setting sun. Actually, I take that back. I definitely stood there hunched over for a couple of minutes, staring at the ground, clutching my stomach, trying to catch my breath. But then, once I caught my breath, I looked up and I lost it again. Because the view was breathtaking. I could see my whole neighborhood, a huge stretch of the aqueduct running past it, the traffic lights of 10th Street, and the evening glow lighting up the mountains in the distance. And you know what else I saw? About halfway down from where I stood was where I would have been had I taken the first hill. Lower, closer to the ground, farther from the setting sun. I probably would have even been too early to see the sunset, since that path was so much shorter. You all know I don't like to be cliche, but you also know that this is a graduation speech, so there has to be a metaphor somewhere in here. Well, my whole hike is that metaphor. We stand at the bottom of one of the biggest hills we have ever seen. We have no idea what we will find on the other side. As we trek up this massive wall, we are bound to get tired. We are bound to lose our footing. We are bound to slip. But amidst these setbacks, there will always be the breeze to refresh us. There will always be the flowers to remind us that we too can grow through the rocks. The rocks of negativity, of self-doubt, of despair. Not a single one of these is enough to keep us from growing, to keep us from adding color and life and hope to the world. This climb is exactly what our past 4 years have prepared us for. Getting up that hill, reaching the top, seeing the beauty of the sun closing out another day, ready to rise up again the next. Our hiking packs are filled with historical dates, math formulas, and lit devices, hopefully, but they are also filled with endless laughter and memories that will sustain us through the toughest of times. We have gotten to know ourselves better and know each other better, and it's safe to say that while this may not be the High School Musical 3 some of us expected, we're all in this together. This is no traditional ceremony, so I will not send you off with the traditional reminders. Instead, I offer you this. No social distance measure will distance our support for each other, and no mask will ever keep out the essence of the Holy Spirit, our Paraclete, that guides us every step of the way. Paraclete has taught us that we will always have a family to fall back on, and that with this family behind us, we are unstoppable. We will reach the summit.